So good morning. Glad you came on up to the house. Glad you're underneath the big red umbrella. I'm also glad that today, underneath the big red umbrella, we have my mom. Hi, Mom. And my daughter from college, yeah. My daughter, she's Jeep's daughter too, sorry about that. So, I'm gonna tell a story, and the friend who's in the story is in the room, I see. So let me think if I need to edit myself. So, on the very last morning of 2025, 7:02 a.m., on New Year's Eve, to be exact, I received a text from my friend Tracy, which read mysteriously, "They are already walking." Her next text said, "I just threw clothes on. Gonna try to see them around Crockett and Ponce. I'm brushing my teeth and warming the car." After exchanging a few more brief but clarifying messages, I responded with the words, "Sounds good. I'm ready." After that, I also proceeded to frantically throw on clothes, brush my teeth, grab a warm coat, gloves, my bag, always my notebook, a phone, a snack. I guess I wasn't really ready. So that then I would be ready to jump into her car as soon as she swooped into my driveway. Now, where were we off to with all this haste and panic and frenzy? To find the Buddhist Walk for Peace monks, of course. Like many of you in this sanctuary today, or who are watching this service online, and along with millions of other people across the country, we had totally fallen in love with the monks. These humble, brave monks who walked for 108 grueling days and 2,300, that's 2,300, relentless miles in noble silence to spread a message of compassion, mindfulness, and peace. The monks' long trek started in Fort Worth, Texas, and ended in Washington, D.C. at the National Cathedral. But those of us here in Atlanta were blessed to have them in our metropolitan area for several days at the turn of the year. And unlike Tracy and I setting off that morning, they possessed a decidedly unanxious presence that inspired people of every faith all along their journey to stop what they were doing and join the monks in a collective wish for beloved community. I remember commenting to Tracy that morning that as we sped through the streets of Tucker, Georgia, it sometimes felt like we were Cagney and Lacey. That legendary pair of female detectives from the wildly popular 1980s TV show. We were working the case of the missing monks. Several times we rolled down our windows to ask someone in the car next to us or someone walking down the street, "Have you seen any monks headed in this direction?" And amazingly, everyone we stopped seemed to know something and to be willing to help. Eventually, we received a hot tip that the monks were taking a restroom break at the QT on Lawrenceville Highway, not too far up the road from where we were then standing. We were told that if we stayed in the vicinity, the monks would eventually be coming our way. We continued to case the scene. We did not make any arrest. All of our sleuthing and detective work was ultimately rewarded by being right there on the side of the road when the monks came through, away from all the massive crowds that had greeted them at many of their publicized stops along the way. We, along with our other determined friends who had joined us, were so close to the monks that we could literally reach out and touch them. We did not. We knew that. But we could have. And in spite of being so inspired and humbled by seeing them, what has remained with me even more than seeing the monks has been remembering the people, all the people who showed up to see the monks. Or the people who had not even planned to see the monks, but who stopped whatever they were doing anyway. The ones who stepped outside of their businesses or workplaces or found a place to quickly pull over and get out of their cars in order to quietly pay their respects and to be a part of a profoundly spiritual shared experience. It was amazing to see how many of us are longing for that experience of connectedness. How many of us desperately want to be a part of the beloved community, if we could only figure out how to get there. In those precious moments with the monks, people were able to look at one another and see goodness and possibility and strengths. In those moments, we were able to look at the stranger beside us and see someone else also yearning for a peaceful, loving world, someone with hopes and dreams, someone with the ability to help create peace, someone worth sacrificing for. All the things I hope you feel and see in the people around you right now when you come here on Sunday morning. Friends, one of my biggest takeaways from seeing the monks is that it matters how we see one another. It might even be the thing that matters most of all. The monks helped us to see all the other people within our community and across this polarized nation who long for a more peaceful, loving, and just community, even if they have to chase people down at the bathroom at QT on Lawrenceville Highway. One of the reasons that I know that how we see one another matters so much is that there's a whole lot of money and resources being invested in encouraging us to see the worst in one another, or to think that we are too different from one another to be able to live and thrive together in peaceful and loving and nurturing communities. One recent book that has been enthusiastically embraced by too many people at the very highest levels of our current administration even goes so far as to define everyone with progressive values, and even those with more moderate values, as a threat to their vision of humanity, and therefore deserving of the label unhuman. That's the label, the point of the book, Unhumans. Scholars typically agree that there are some principles and practices that all authoritarian, anti-democratic, and fascist regimes share. And while I will not list all of them here, A few of them are worth a special shout out this morning because they stand in direct opposition to what it means to be in beloved community. And by the way, these are not necessarily listed in any particular order. They're all equally horrible, so you don't have to pick. Number one, divide people from one another. Encourage fear, suspicion, and mistrust. Number two, demonize and dehumanize opponents or those who disagree with you. Three, blame minorities, immigrants, and any alleged outsiders for the country's problems. Four, make people feel powerless to change things. Unless, of course, the change they want to see falls obediently in line with authoritarians' view of the world, that some people are unhumans. In his 1913 book entitled The Problem of Christianity, Josiah Royce, a professor of philosophy at Harvard University, introduced the world to the phrase beloved community. To think someone thought of that, right? Someone thought of it first. He used this phrase to describe his vision of a universal community where individuals are inspired and transformed by divine love that they express through caring for and having loyalty to one another. Royce was clear that in order to truly be a beloved community, that community had to extend beyond any single religion or church to include all of humankind. In a true beloved community, no one is unloved or unhuman. Inspired by Royce and other like-minded thinkers and mentors, Martin Luther King advanced, evolved, and popularized the vision of beloved community, making it part of the foundation for his work for racial, social, and economic justice. The King Center's website states, for Dr. King, the beloved community was not a lofty utopian goal in which lions and lambs coexist in harmony. Rather, the beloved community was for him a realistic, achievable goal that could be attained by a critical mass. Notice he didn't think everyone would be on board with the plan. Critical mass of people committed to and trained in the philosophies and methods of nonviolence. Dr. King's beloved community is a global vision in which all people can share in the wealth of the earth. Furthermore, the website makes clear that Dr. King's vision of beloved community does not unrealistically assume that a day is coming when we no longer have individual and societal conflicts, but rather that we learn to use strategies of peaceful conflict resolution and attempt to increase the understanding between adversaries instead of defaulting automatically to the use of violence and military power. In this vision of beloved community, we never ever forget or attempt to erase one another's humanity. Yes. As a coach who works each day to help my clients recognize and make good use of the character strengths within themselves and the people around them, my definition of beloved community is decidedly strengths-focused, I admit. For me, a beloved community is one in which every person is recognized as a person with invaluable strengths. Strengths that should be appreciated, encouraged, respected, and yes, protected. In a beloved community, it should be assumed that each person has strengths that are just waiting to be discovered, even if you do not know them yet, or even if they are making their strengths a little bit difficult to see. No one here. No one here. I know this sounds so simple, so innocent, perhaps even so naive, and yet, it is the essence of what those who sow the seeds of fascism and authoritarianism want us to turn away from, the simple recognition that every person has strengths. We are being encouraged to believe that only some people who have the right amount of money, or the right race, or religion, or ethnicity, or political beliefs, or gender identity, or immigration status, that only certain people have strengths that matter. But in the beloved community, which is actually a way of being in the world and not actually like a destination with a brochure that we're going to go to someday, in the beloved community, each of us has strengths that matter. Friends, I believe we strengthen the beloved community by intentionally seeing strengths in one another and by keeping each other feeling like people who have strengths, because it's hard to keep feeling like you have something to offer, especially in these times. But remember those 4 common authoritarian practices: dividing people from one another, encouraging fear, suspicion, and mistrust, demonizing, dehumanizing opponents, blaming minorities, immigrants, everybody, making people feel powerless to change things. All of those things are things that we can actually help take care of by coming together in our circles and repeatedly and intentionally naming and encouraging the strengths we see in one another: the leadership, the bravery, the kindness, the creativity, the perseverance, the hope, the love, the curiosity, the humor, the teamwork. Every one of those 4 authoritarian principles is weakened right then and there when we focus on staying connected to one another in our overlapping circles and shining a light on one another's strengths. And the other thing is, we have to do this work before we find ourselves in the most urgent moments of the crisis. We have to know each other before we need each other. And we will need each other. Democracy depends upon people who see goodness and possibility in one another, people who trust in one another and their ability to work together for the common good. It is not at all an understatement to say that democracy depends. It actually depends on our ability to see one another's strengths, to believe in one another's strengths, to actually like the public. Imagine that. Behind me is a slide with the names of the 24 universally valued human character strengths, meaning that wherever you go on planet Earth, these are the things we value in one another. We hope to cultivate them in our children. We hope to see them in our leaders. In every moment that we are interacting with another human, we are hoping for at least one of these 24 strengths, but usually a combination of them. These are the strengths demonstrated through years of research and peer review, where you use peer review. And at this point, these strengths have been the subject of over 1,000 peer-reviewed studies. These are the strengths we all share. Every single one of us has our own unique combination of these strengths, and we must never let anyone convince us that we don't, or that some of us don't, or that some of us are more capable or strengthier, I made that word up, than others. In order to create a beloved community that is truly strong enough to keep the forces of authoritarianism and fascism at bay, it is our job now to create a new kind of call-out culture in our congregation, our potlucks, our book clubs, our workplaces, our neighborhood associations, our covenant groups, our social media accounts, don't forget those, our board meetings, our Zoom calls, everywhere in our world, and especially in our one-on-one conversations with one another. Because in spite of what we hear about AI, humans evolved to learn from one another. We learn best from one another. So we have to tell each other about the strengths we see in one another. A call-out culture in which we notice these strengths and try to make them even stronger. A call-out culture in which we call these strengths out. When we help people find their way into joyful service, into roles and jobs and tasks that leverage their strengths and fill them with meaning and purpose, and show them that they belong in our communities. A call-out culture in which we get really specific and clear with people about the gifts and positive attributes that we notice in them. This can't be a culture in which we just happen to notice strengths either. It's got to be one in which we intentionally are looking for strengths, looking for them in one another, in the stranger, in the newcomer, in the person who annoys you just a little, in the person who annoys you a whole lot, and in the people we are being encouraged to distance ourselves from, the people we are encouraged to think matter just a little less than we do, or the people we are being told to just not see at all. We have to see them, see their strengths, widen our circles to include them. Right now, I would love for you to take a moment, a mindful moment, and pick just one of the strengths that you see on the slide behind me and hold it in your mind. If you're unable to read the slide, I'll name just a few. Creativity, perspective, judgment, curiosity. Is it love of learning, forgiveness, gratitude, humility? Take just a moment and pick a strength, hold it in your mind. Maybe it is a strength that feels essential to who you are, or maybe you don't know why you like it, but you just do. I think the strength I'm picking for today is hope. For today, I want you to look for that strength in yourself and in the people you encounter, and let them know when you notice it, when you see it in them. I'm asking you to start your practice of strengthening other people today. And for those of you who are a little bit competitive, you're going to be the best strengths seeker. Your challenge is to tell someone you see one of these strengths inside of them, wait for it, before you leave today. Not so easy now, is it? But you can do it. Starting in August of this month, We will have workshops, both in person and online, that help you to learn the universal language of strengths, these VIA character strengths, so that you can more easily call them out in yourself, and just as importantly, call them out in others. I hope that you'll find your way to one of these opportunities so that you can begin your work of keeping yourself and your circle and all your circles, and in particular, this circle, this beloved community we call UUCA, keep it unbroken and strong. Beloved community, and I do believe you live up to those words, please hold this thought in your hearts and find your way to begin acting upon it today. It matters so much what we see in ourselves and one another. Let's make sure our circles are indeed circles of strength and strengths. Let's work together to keep our people and our circles unbroken. May it be so. Amen.